Welcome everyone this is room 200C, and the topic is homeschooling and loving it, how to have your best homeschool year ever. So hopefully in your laps you have a copy of a book that I wrote called Homeschooling and Loving It, and we'll use that as a text a little bit. But since you have the book, I'm going to be giving you some advice, reality tips that you can use in addition to the book. And you also have that lovely little resource book, and I have some freebies for you too. So welcome, come on in. So my name is Rebecca Kokendorfer. I'm the founder of Homeschool.com. And Homeschool.com is the #1 homeschooling site on the internet. We have been for over 20 years, and we have helped 2 million people a year, 2 million homeschoolers a year come to Homeschool.com. And our mission is to help you homeschool in the way that works best for you. So we help you find curriculum, we help you learn about learning styles, how to connect with other homeschoolers. We have a vibrant social media presence. We write blogs, we write articles, we write books. So it's been my absolute pleasure to work with Homeschool.com and to be the founder for the last 20 years. And as part of that, because I am homeschooling crazy, I'm a homeschool zealot. I homeschooled all the way from preschool up through high school graduation. And also as the founder of Homeschool.com, I've had the honor to work with thousands of homeschooling parents throughout the last 20 years. So I've learned a lot about what works and what doesn't work as well. So I thought we could talk about that today. So I know you homeschoolers, we love freebies. So if someone would help me pass these out, I have a couple of free books for you. The first book that I wrote is called Homeschooling for Success, and Time Warner was the publisher for that. They came to us and said, we would like Homeschool.com to write our homeschooling book. So I have 2 free copies of this. If anyone would like it, raise your hand. And my favorite chapter in this book is about uncollege alternatives. I think that's pretty good. So let me show you so you can kind of choose. So I have 2 copies of Homeschooling for Success, and I have 2 copies of the Summertime Survival Guide. Excuse me, I'm going to cough. Excuse me. And I also have 2 free homeschool t-shirts. So who would like a copy of Homeschooling for Success? Okay, so in the pink shirt, if you would mind. Yes?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, it's both of you. It's
Okay.
perfect. Thank you. And who would like a free copy of the Summertime Survival Guide? If life had a rewind button, I would retitle this Summer Learning and Loving It, because summer learning changed my life. I was raised in poverty, in kind of an abusive household, and one time my beloved aunt noticed that I was way behind in reading. And she could have shamed me or criticized me, but instead she put me on her lap and she taught me how to read. And she's the one that helped me fall in love with learning. She taught me, she bought some of those Lincoln Logs from the thrift store. She would buy books from the Goodwill. And I would go and visit with her on the weekends, and she taught me to cook. And we did reading together. So I wrote this book kind of for her, because you just never know what a difference you can make in someone's life just by sharing this love of learning and by encouraging them. So who would like a copy of this? This is for Aunt Mary. Okay, here. And I think you guys better play rock, paper, scissors. See who wins? Okay, ready? 1, 2. 2 rocks. Oh, and you don't want to play?
Oh, sure.
Yeah, rock, paper, scissors. Okay, ready? One more time. 1, 2, go. Oh my gosh, you guys keep doing the same thing. This is great. This is hysterical. We have 3 rocks, now we have 3 scissors. Okay, last time. Ready? Okay. Oh, this is funny. We have a rock, we have a paper, and we have a scissors. Okay, so I give up then. So who would like it the most? Okay, thank you so much. Okay, next. Yeah, I wish I had more copies for you. But if you get a chance, come over to the Homeschool.com booth. I believe we're number 701. Is that correct? Good. I've got tons of time this weekend. Come on by. We have more free copies of Homeschooling and Loving It if your friends would like it, and I'd be very happy to autograph it for you. And we have these wonderful t-shirts, Homeschool Proud. So I have 2 of these here with me today, and if you want to come on over to the booth, we have more. So who would like these? May I toss it to you? Because they've chained me to the mic here. And who would like the other copy? Oh, you didn't. You lost out on the summer book. So thank you. Come on up.
Thank you very much.
My pleasure. So I thought we could start by, I want to just show you a brief introduction to Homeschooling and Loving It. And the title is very intentional because I loved homeschooling. As I mentioned, I homeschooled from the time that I was pregnant, and I decided that we were going to take charge of our learning, and all the way through my son's high school graduation. It was one of the proudest moments. And some people suffer through their homeschooling, and my wish for you is that you will create a homeschool of joy, that it will be a joyful, happy experience for you. So today I've got some advice for you. And this book covers some of the top challenges in homeschooling and gives you really positive advice for it. So for example, I teach you about learning styles. And learning styles can be really helpful. And I can tell you even right here, it's very easy to figure out learning styles just by observing your children. You know, do your children, are they talkers? Do they say, I understand best if you say it to me. I understand best if I can hear it. Or are they visual learners? You know, Mom, I need to see that written down. Or do they love workbooks? Are they kinesthetic? And of course, remember that young children are all kinesthetic. So if you have young children, you want to make it as hands-on as possible, learning with their body, building, creating, using their hands as much as possible. So one of the chapters here, one of my favorite ones, I teach you about learning styles and learning personalities. Another one in here is teaching you how to organize your schedule and your supplies in a way that works best for you. And so my advice would be, give as much structure, use as much structure as you need to feel comfortable and confident. Because structure works, but you don't necessarily have to have it. Sometimes people, when in the beginning, they recreate school at home. And the school at home approach has the highest burnout rate in homeschooling. The most popular homeschooling style is the eclectic method. And eclectic, I think homeschoolers are the only people who know what eclectic means. And basically, it's the kitchen sink method. A little of this, a little bit of that. Because you're probably discovering that you'll find something that works with one child and then it doesn't work with the rest. Pretty unfair, right? Because we work so hard, we've figured it out, and then it doesn't work for them. So the eclectic method is the most popular style of homeschooling. And then also at the back, I teach you how to put together a little portfolio, and I even give you a template for it. So when you get a chance, take a look at this. I think that you'll find it to be a good, comforting guide for whether homeschooling is new for you or whether you just need kind of a shot in the arm and you want to rethink things and want your homeschooling to be more creative, more inspirational. So let's get to know each other a little bit. Please come on in. So if you would, be brave, raise your hand, and let's start out in the beginning. Let's talk about what our frustrations with homeschooling are, because that way we can chat about that, because you're probably not the only one. So let's look the devil in the eye in the very beginning, and let's talk about, share what your frustration is about homeschooling, or if you're just thinking about homeschooling, what your fear is, because I can assure you that you're not alone. So who wants to be brave? Yes, please.
Okay, so I tried it 1 year, and I was extremely overwhelmed because I brought school home.
Yes.
And I went to the homeschool community and I felt like I was just dumped with a whole bunch of information and didn't know where to go. And so I just threw in school at home, and that just did not work. Put them back in school for a year, but then I felt that didn't work. That didn't work for me because I already got a taste of homeschool. And there was something that I did like about that element, but I found that the first year being overwhelmed, being fearful, didn't feel that I was equipped.
Yeah.
I felt totally ill-equipped, even though I am educated. I still felt that I didn't have enough knowledge to really teach certain subjects if he needed help or anything like that. And but coming here this time, because I'm bringing him as well as the rest of my kids home, and I actually feel more equipped listening to. I feel more ready to take the challenge. That's what I will say.
Yes, and you and I had a
Their
chance
learning
to
styles.
speak yesterday. Let me repeat this for a little bit for the people in the back. So she homeschooled for a year and she didn't have a positive experience. So she put her children back in school and she hated that even more. So now she's come this year to the convention and she feels like homeschooling is the thing that she really wants to do. And I could tell yesterday when we were talking, she's light about it now. She has decided to do it. So I want to give you some advice about that. She said that she burned out because she tried to do school at home, and that is natural for new homeschoolers because most of us were raised in school, and we're taught that homeschooling must be done as 9 to 10 is reading, 10 to 11 is math, 11 to 12 is science. But let me comfort you about that. For elementary school, you can do high quality homeschooling of just 1 hour a day of focus time. For high schoolers, you can do high quality education on just 4 hours a day. How is that? That's because when children are in the classroom setting, remember there is a tremendous amount of lost time. Only 10 minutes out of every hour is actually on task. So if you have your child, if you're doing 60 minutes or 4 hours of on-task time, they're getting so much more out of that many times than they are in a classroom. And of course, remember too that homeschoolers get to do what teachers wish that they could do. It's one-on-one learning. It's small group learning. Of course, it works really well. And to comfort you as well, you probably already know this, but that homeschoolers score higher on the SAT tests than do private schools or public schools. Once again, because of that mastery learning, that one-on-one learning, that small group learning. So I want to comfort you too is that you're never going to be able to get it all done. It's not practical, it's not even possible. There's a huge body of learning out there, and we seem to think that homeschooling is a checklist and that we're just going to pour information into our children and check you know this, check you know this, check you know this. But they're going to be learning their entire lives. So mostly we want to teach them a love of learning, and eventually we want to teach them how to homeschool themselves, how to take charge of their learning. Because one of the greatest pleasures of homeschooling high school is to see them homeschooling themselves. And you're just a facilitator. So this year, when you're coming at homeschooling again, let joy and love be your guide. Because really, homeschooling is about love. It's about love of learning, love of God, love of family, love of self and respect. That's what you really want. Those are those intangibles that you're going to be able to pass on to your children. Curriculum will change. Curriculum will come and go. So trust yourself. If you have to make a mistake, why not let the mistake be that you trusted yourself and you trusted them, right? You don't have to shackle yourself to a curriculum or to a schedule or to a method. Homeschooling should not invoke tears. If it is, take a step back. Go find your smile and maybe even communicate with your children. You want to have a great relationship with them. Isn't that one of the most important benefits that you're going to have with your homeschooling? Close relationship with your children and the siblings having a close relationship. That is so lovely. People don't realize that when they start homeschooling, but that's one of the best things about it, is that you create a really close family. So if you find that it's not working for you and it's not working for them, be a really good communicator. What is it that's not working for you, honey? Is this curriculum, what is it about it? What are your goals? What do you really want from your homeschooling? One of the things I did with my children all the way through is that each semester, and we kind of homeschooled on a trimester. We had a fall semester, we had a spring, and we had a summer. And each time I would ask them, I would say, honey, what is your number one goal? So my daughter, her number one goal was to get up on point shoes in ballet. So we wrote it on a thin piece of wood, and I had her karate chop through that goal. And we took that goal seriously. Because I thought math is going to come and go, science, math facts, all that kind of stuff is going to come and go. But what she learned from this is that I take her dreams very seriously. And we did everything. We went to the ballet, we found some dance classes, and she did end up becoming a ballerina. She ended up being accepted to a performing arts high school here. You probably know Idlewild down here in Southern California. And then she stopped being a ballerina, but now she's graduating from the London School of Economics. Because she learned, I would always listen to her. Let one of your parenting rules be that you are not a joy killer. You're not a dream killer. So when they come to you and they say, Mom, Dad, I really want to, your answer is, you can do that. You want to be a cowboy, you can be a cowboy. You want to go to space, you can go to space. If you think you want to be a doctor, you might really want to do a lot of science. You might want to get strong in math. But customize the curriculum, customize your time. If nothing else, create that one goal. And failure is not an option for that. Because think about what you're learning with that. You're learning the habit of going for it. You're learning the habit of dreaming. And you're learning the habit of finding resources. It makes you very powerful and very confident. In the book, I talk about how when my son was young, and I said, honey, what's your number one goal? And he said, Mom, I want to learn how to drive every kind of boat. So we homeschooled in California, but we were up in Sacramento that's landlocked. And this was even before Google was really big. So I thought, oh my gosh, I have to take this seriously because he said, Mom, I want to learn how to drive every kind of boat. And I had discovered that there was a boating camp at Sac State, CSUS in Sacramento. And every summer they had a children's camp where they taught them to canoe and to kayak and to sailboat. And he took that 2 or 3 summers. And did he become a sailor? No. But what he learned is that our relationship is very close. His dreams matter. And I learned that no matter what they say to me, I can find the resources to help them become confident. If nothing else, he became a good swimmer. So put that in your back pocket. Keep asking your kids each semester, what's your number one goal? Put it up on the thing and you make that happen. Math is going to be coming and going. You'll be ahead, you'll be behind, but if they set goals for themselves, did you know that if you write down your goal and you refer to it again and again, you have an 85% chance of achieving that goal? Just by writing it down and reviewing it, because you're giving instructions to your subconscious, aren't you? This is important to me. Look for opportunities, look for people, look for resources that can help that goal happen. So I'm so glad you mentioned that. So when you want to have a different year this year, you want to homeschool and love it. Think about what your priorities are, what your intentions for here. That close relationship, that love of learning, that love of family, and then your next action step is to walk the vendor hall and meet people, and you find resources that can help make that happen. Because remember, really, one curriculum is not better than another. And it doesn't even matter. Did you know it doesn't even matter what your education level is? And it doesn't even matter whether you have a teaching credential or not. There have been numerous studies that show that if you love homeschooling and you only have a high school graduation, you can be a great homeschooler because you're going to be throwing yourself in it. You're going to be so excited about it. You're going to be learning with them, and that's one of the great joys of homeschooling, is being able to learn all these fun things with them. Because think about role model parenting. If you want to love your homeschooling year, model that you are constantly setting goals, you're learning, you're failing, you're not giving up, you're learning new things. Oh, do you think I would like that? You're learning the violin because your kid started studying violin and it looks really cool. So really model that love of learning. Okay, next person, please. Tell me, what are some of your, let's start first with the fears or frustrations about homeschooling. What you'd like to do different this time. Yes, please.
I've done 3 years of homeschooling. I don't love it.
Okay.
And I want it to be fun. My kids are still young enough to make it fun, and I don't know how to do that without accomplishing.
Yeah. Okay, it's so much easier than you thought. She says that she's homeschooled for 3 years and she doesn't love it and she wants to love it. Okay, here's the secret. Customize the curriculum so that it takes their interests into account, right? If we didn't want to take their interest into account, we would put them in school where they would just do what they're told. And the teachers don't like this any more than the students do. But it's October, so you must be on this page. So whether you're homeschooling full-time or part-time, or you just want them to have this love of learning, customize the learning to include their interests. Right? They can read books about things they're interested in. They can learn history about topics that they're interested in. We talk about grade level expectations, but did you know that that's actually random? It's just a way of organizing a body of knowledge that is so vast. We just thought, well, we've got to organize it some way. So in California, it says that we're going to learn about the California missions in 4th grade, and we're going to learn about Mother's Day in 9th grade. But you can teach about Mother's Day anytime you want. You can teach about the California missions anytime you want. So base their learning, their curriculum on their interests, and then you're not going to have to crack the whip. You're not going to have to worry about motivation so much. And if you even customize the way that they study and where they study so that it works best for them and for your family, you've removed a lot of barriers. Remember, there isn't a secret. There isn't only one way to homeschool. The way to homeschool best is the way that's best for you. And that means that you, as the homeschooling parent, you matter too. If you're staying up late at night and you're crying, correcting papers, I say find a new curriculum, because life is short. You want to enjoy them. You want to be able to go on field trips. You want to be able to visit with relatives. You want to be able to study and travel off season when the prices are lower. Right? Don't chain yourself or lock yourself to a particular method where your whole life becomes checking things off the list. Because you will find that it doesn't even increase learning. You think that you're sacrificing, but they don't even learn as much, because we know for ourselves, if you're interested in it, you will learn more, you will remember more, it will be more relevant. Now I want to change and give you a condition on that. If you think that you have a child that's going to be going back into school, that's when you want to match the grade level expectations with that school. So if you have someone you think is going to be going back into 5th grade or into 9th grade, set them up for success by finding out what is that school's 5th grade level expectations. What books do they expect them to have read? Where do they expect them to be in math? And so cater the curriculum to that so that they can have an easy transition. But if you are not planning to put them back in school, remember, grade level expectations are random. It's just a way of trying to organize a vast body of knowledge to try to make it more informational and more logical. Now we know that in math tends to be a little bit more linear. It's addition, and they master that, and then it's subtraction, and then it's multiplication, and it's division. In that case, they have to have a prerequisite skill in order to go in. But reading is reading. Whether you're reading about dinosaurs or about disasters, my goodness, get them excited about reading. Because then the whole world is open to them. So if you can make reading fun, so maybe if you have a young one who's sleeping and then the older one sits on your lap and you have that special time, if you can make reading a priority and make reading fun and get them reading solid, that opens a huge amount of difference, and that makes it easier for them to homeschool themselves later on down the line. So thank you for offering that. I'm sorry you didn't have a positive experience.
It's not horrible.
Yeah. And remember also, too, that if you try it a different way and you don't love it, you don't have to homeschool. because we are so lucky in this country. Now, I love homeschooling. It's where my heart is. But we have lots of wonderful choices. We have Catholic schools, magnet schools, charter schools, Montessori, Waldorf. We have a wonderful variety of choices that other people in other countries don't have. Homeschooling is against the law in Germany and Japan. So if you find that homeschooling just isn't working for you, find something that is. It's that whole idea of the cookie cutter education. We're not cookies. So you can put them in the setting that works best for them. So I have 3 children and we homeschooled all different ways. And I always gave them the option because I found that that way they got behind their choice. So when my daughter got accepted to that ballet school, I was very sad to have her go there for her junior and senior year. But it was her dream come true and she'd worked so hard from it, and it ended up being a door opener. So I'm not a school hater. I used to be a school teacher. You know, my goal is I want you to find the setting in the way that works best for you and your children, and there are so many options available. So be good to yourself and trust yourself, you know, and look for what works best for you. What else? Yes, please.
I'm a fairly new homeschooler. We just finished our first year of kindergarten.
Okay.
And one of the reasons I was so drawn to homeschooling is because, you know, you kept hearing about the ability to teach your child in a way that they enjoy. So
Yeah.
they're obsessed with, like my daughter's obsessed with birds. So
Yeah.
all of our writing is about birds. All of our science is bird
Yeah.
related, which is great. But I have a hard time when she doesn't enjoy something. I panic. Like,
Yeah.
you're supposed to love it.
Yeah.
That's why we're doing this. And
Yeah.
so I never know really what I'm supposed to do. I try to change and do different, it's math, you know, she doesn't like math.
Yeah.
And so I've tried to find different curriculums and for ways to teach it, and I just never know, is it okay that she doesn't love math? Do we continue with it? Do I step away and
Yeah.
let her just delve into what she really loves? How do you determine, because I don't want her to think she doesn't like math,
Right.
because she just doesn't like how I'm teaching it.
Okay, you bring up an excellent question. So she homeschooled for a year, and she said she likes it, but she says she starts to panic if her children aren't in 100% joy mode all the time. Or if she has, was it your daughter, who doesn't seem to love math. So my question for you is, do you love everything? Are you in joy 100% of the time? So I wouldn't have them crying and suffering through it, and I would never use language like, oh, math is hard, or you just have to do it. And I also wouldn't step back from it either, because reading and math, that's a foundational skill that's going to open up a lot of possibilities. So maybe just find, a better way of doing it. So my son, he was hyperactive, and so he did his multiplication tables on the trampoline. So maybe you go and do it out on the grass underneath a tree, or maybe you learn about math with somebody else. Maybe there's another way of making it more interesting. But I wouldn't back away from math, because math is awesome, and it's really great, and you want her to be good at math, but it may not be 100% joy all the time. And I don't think you have to panic either if you happen to have a bad day, because of course I loved homeschooling and we had bad days. And sometimes I could find that the bad days were going on too long. And then when that happened, I put the brakes on. I said, oh, we got to have a field trip day. Either because I was feeling burned out or so were they. So pause, go find your smile, and then when you come back, you will get twice as much done. Trust me. You think that if you can just muscle through, you got to finish it, and check it off. But if you just take a break from it and then come back to it with a lighter heart, you will end up enjoying it so much more, and you will be so much more productive. So if she's not enjoying it, it could just be the moment. It could not, maybe it has nothing to do with math or even that curriculum. It could be that she's tired or she wants to do something else. But I love the way that you described that she loves birds, so you do lots of unit studies about birds. Have you guys heard about unit studies? Yeah, unit studies are so awesome, aren't they? That's a really nice way too. If you find that you're losing your love of learning, sometimes you can take a little break and go and do field trips or do a deep unit study or work exclusively on their goals. Switch it up a little bit, because sometimes it's just boredom or getting tired from the routine. And sometimes you just need a little bit of break to freshen it up. Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, so now let's take a moment too, and let's share with each other what are some of your, what's your number one goal for homeschooling? Yes, please.